Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Relationships Rule. I just want to start by saying that I just had lunch, and while I was having lunch, I listened to some beautiful music by saying, Alexa, please play me David Homan's music, because I read somewhere that said I could do that. David, it was delightful. I love your music. So that's what I wanted to start with and just share that this man that I'm interviewing today is like a Renaissance man to me, has so many different things that I'm going to share with you and talk to him about. So, first of all, welcome to the show, David.
Thank you. And Janice, I'm so honored that you took the time to listen.
I
Um,
do.
as a composer, you spend most of your life waiting for fame after you die. And so it's always wonderful to know you've touched somebody even over, a lunch salad or whatever it might be.
And you know what? My daughter, I paid lots of money for my daughter to become a pianist. And she is a beautiful pianist. She doesn't get to do it very often anymore. But I'm going to share your music with her because she will appreciate it and appreciate that you're the composer as well as the pianist that's playing it, right? So, yeah.
Yes.
So that's just one connection. So let me just tell you a little bit about David and then we'll dig in. So, he connects people. So right away, I knew he was my people. Uh, in life is learning about people, helping them reframe and pitch themselves better, and then creating long lasting relationships based on the premise that for everyone for whom he connects the dots, they would be described as an action oriented, natural giver with high integrity. And he's written a book called, as if you're watching this, as you'll see on the screen, Orchestrating Connection. First of all, I love the title because that's why I told you about the music experience, because David is all about classical music and trained in it, etc. And now he has this new 2025 book that came out, was a USA bestseller called Orchestrating Connection. And I'd like to get into that today because I think it's fascinating. So, again, welcome to the show. And I hope I introduced you okay in that regard. If you want
You
to
know,
add,
I would, s-
please do.
no, I mean, look, everyone could say, well, here's everything else that's important about me. I think
Mhm.
what matters is what's important is what resonates with people. So I'm grateful that you see value in the book that I wrote, which is really part of my life, and the other part in the music, which is
And
somewhere
you,
between a career and a hobby. And everything I've built has been in service of this goal of finding the right resonance between people or for
mhm,
people as a
mhm.
musician.
So, and that being said, though, you also, I mean, you've got a tech company, work with the nonprofits, you run a foundation. So there's like a lot of balls you're juggling in the air, right?
Oh, yes, in an overwhelming way. It never is
Yeah.
in order. None of it's all going well at the same time, but I try to be purposeful and intentional and very focused on what I'm doing to help other people.
Well, I wasn't going to ask this first, but I am because of just you saying that about wanting and caring about people. Did this come from your upbringing at all? The caring about people or and the connecting piece? Did you have a parent or parents that were all about that too? Like it's in your DNA?
So the caring, yes. The connection, the complete opposite of what would have been easy in my life. So my father, esteemed theater professor at the University of Florida, retired at 86 years old.
Oh my
So he
God.
taught over 54,000 students. Everyone loved him. He was the one that was the dad they wanted to be, even though he's a professor. And he started an arts and medicine program I was actually part of at the local hospital. Everything in his life was using the arts to bring people together.
Mm,
My mother, my dad's 6'1".
mm.
My mother's 4'11" on a good day, sometimes less. But my
Yeah.
mother was in charge of everything. She ran four nonprofits, writers workshop, local theater, an arts program where kids in elementary school could take after school arts classes. And for every class that you took, you had to buy one for a kid whose family couldn't afford it.
Mm,
So I lived completely in that life of service. And then I got, and again, connections through family. But when I eventually ended up in New York City, as I started to meet people, I would realize my father, who was the one who taught all these people, could have helped me, but he never thought of networking or connection as useful at all.
Mm.
So I'm at some event where a friend's doing a work at Carnegie Hall, and I see this, like, pretty striking man across the way who's looking at me, and my name had been on the program as like a composer, and he walks up and he's like, "Is Sid Homan your father?" And I was like, "Yeah, Sid's my dad." He's like, "I'm Malcolm Getz." I said, like Carolyn in the City, Malcolm Getz, like one of the like really known actors of the 90s as a comedic actor. My He was my dad's Hamlet. He loved my dad. I'm
Yeah.
building a career, Janice, in theater and the
Yeah.
arts in New York, and my dad
Very
doesn't
happy.
think I should connect you with a guy in Hollywood and Broadway.
Yeah.
I had to learn it on my own, which
That's so
really helped me
interesting.
perfect how to do it.
Okay, that's so many levels there. So, did he not do it on purpose, or did he not do it like, did he not do it on purpose because it wasn't, he never thought about it, or did he want you to find your own way?
He never thought about it. There was
Okay.
no intention of, like, let my son figure it out on his own.
Yeah.
He just didn't think about it because it wasn't in his DNA.
Yeah. It's very interesting because, I mean, just a little ditty about that is that my mother loved people. She wasn't a big connector, but she had this wonderful joie de vivre about taking, she was a caretaker. Like, she loved to take care of people and she loved to make people feel good. And to the point that I always make this joke, but it's so true. She'd go on a vacation and she'd send a postcard to the meat market butcher, like, just to, because she cared about these people who were,
I love that.
yeah, that's so people. And by the way, I'd come home from school and never know who was going to be at our house. It was always interesting to see who she'd bring home today. But good and bad in those stories. But I have that in my DNA. And so that's why I asked that question. That's so weird. Okay. People often hear the word connection and think about networking per se. We already mentioned that word, and sort of strategies or tactics around networking. When you were writing Orchestrating Connection, what were you hoping people would actually feel as they read it?
I was hopeful. My co-author Noah Askin and I
Yeah.
were hopeful that people would see that this is all entirely possible. That it doesn't take an extrovert to be a connector. That it doesn't take somebody who can organize events to build a community.
Mhm.
And that you don't have to be born with a network in order to then build a network.
Okay, that's
And,
good.
and the whole goal was to take what we called our 5 founding principles, which is the methodology of my world of orchestrated connecting. And orchestrated connecting is the community that I run that
Right.
became the slightly amalgamated title of the book. And none of it's rocket science. I believe that if you want to connect, you should be vulnerable and curious. We
Mm.
think that from that, if you actually focus on building a diverse network, people who do not look like you, talk like
Mhm.
you, or do what you do, you'll
Mhm.
actually have a powerful community. But the only way to build that trust towards that world is to be generous, to ask people how you can help them, and then to honor that, to express gratitude at every moment that you can for the people that you've built relationships with. There's lots of
Mhm.
books on each one of these.
Mhm.
The system that I built, which is all psychological as well as practical, is basically just living and breathing these, and they're hard to all maintain. But
Mhm.
if you have the intention to be all of that, honestly, life is just much better. You meet more people. It's strategic, it's valuable, meaning it's possible to get more of what you need by also being generous and kind and vulnerable.
So something happened to me today, and I'm wondering if this is an example of that. So I, well, it culminated today, but it has been waiting to happen. So, I'd done a couple of podcast episodes over the last couple of months, and with two interesting people that I thought of, this person that I knew that I think I'd had her on my podcast, or maybe not. But anyway, she and I had many conversations, and I think I wrote an article for something that she was doing. Anyway, I reached out to her and I said, I have a couple of people that you came to mind when I was talking to them and thought you might be interested in meeting them. Um, but I wanted to run it by you and I'll, give you my backstory on it and so on. And so we had this conversation today. And a couple of things. One, I was doing what you call double opt-in, which
Yes.
I never used it that way before, but I love to use it now with that in mind, is that this person, we'll call her name is Cher. She is in my community already. I have trust with her. She has trust with me. We talk, but I didn't want to just give her name to these two people without running it by her first to see if it's worth her time. Okay.
Mhm.
So we had the conversation. And then we also, at the same time, she said to me, have you ever done something? And I said, no, but I'm really interested in that. She said, well, I'll let you know when I'm looking into it right now. I'll share with you. And so what happened there was we hadn't talked for a long time. I had a reason to reach out to her to see if I could support her by introducing her to these people. And then it just happened that she said to me, oh, let me help you with that. I'm looking into it now. Is that an example of something that you teach?
Absolutely. So I love that. Just to summarize this, you had a meeting today where Cher shared with you to
Yeah,
give her
yeah,
that
okay,
name.
yeah.
But more than that, right? So by asking somebody consent or permission for their time, they hear that you value that their time,
Mhm,
which means they will in turn value it back to you.
mhm.
By giving them their privacy in the context of something that might be valuable for them or they might be valued by,
Yeah.
you were giving them the respect of it, but you're also being more respectful of the time of the two people you would connect her to,
Mhm,
because you were saying to them, I have somebody, they might be relevant. Let me
mhm,
get them to buy into this.
mhm.
Because when somebody has said, yes, I'll connect, I will connect for this reason, it's no longer cold. It's not a random lead where they might respond. Their reputation is now on the line to respond to each other because you put your value in the middle. Most of what I teach, which is really why this book is a book also for connectors, although it's not only, is that I always have to say to people, okay, well, here, Janice, you are with somebody that you have access to, other people don't, that you are showing value to. Now you're giving that value to two other people. Did you, when you make this intro, I know this was with this scenario, a today thing,
Yeah, yeah.
will you actually say, well, this is somebody valuable to me. I've known them for 12 years. I think there'll be relevancy for this, but I want to make sure that if something happens from it, you respectfully honor back to me. And honor is the term I use. It's called honoring the chain of connections. Will you give honor back to me to know, tell me what happens from it? Bring me into it if there's something more. Because when you give value to somebody that is really happy about themselves and what they're doing, they think it's great because you value them and you're giving it. But when you're giving something that's actually a quantity of time you've spent
Mhm,
working with somebody, helping somebody, introducing them,
mhm,
people fail to understand that that's a value just like time or money,
mhm,
because it's the
mhm,
composite of what you put your time and money into.
mhm.
And that, right, it's not connecting or networking. It's understanding the relationship value that you've
Right.
built with people and then putting on hand for all to see what the reputation value is by everyone accepting and treating it well, or often at times acting poorly still, but putting them on notice. I set this intro up. You didn't call her back. I look bad. You look bad. But now,
Yeah.
guess what? You're probably not going to get another intro from me.
Yes, yes. So no, I haven't finished the loop yet with that, right? So I left her with the names of those two people to check out their LinkedIn and see what she thinks. And she's going to let me know if she does want that introduction or not. So I think what I heard you say is that if I do make that introduction, the three-way or the two-way introduction, that I maybe put something in that in that written introduction that says, if however it turns out, please let me know, kind of thing, because I'd let.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not to be clear to make it transactional, even if transaction might happen. But when
Right.
you say I'd love if you could honor what happens from this. In
Yeah.
every language, in every culture, there's honor and dishonor. There's nothing in between.
Love
E-
that.
it-
Yeah.
and so when you ask that, you're putting them all on notice that you are the one giving the value. And then they think matter of factly, well, why wouldn't I? But the answer is most times people don't.
Right. Which,
That's the problem.
well, and that speaks to just that age old, which I guess it's in a different context when people talk about networking and they talk about following up, but it's the same principle that you have to, and I love your term better, that you have to honor the invitation that you received from the person. You have to honor that person that sent you the introduction to show that you valued it. Even though it's funny though, like if you're a giver, I have these questions here, but I'm not there yet. Okay. If you're a giver, um, and you give, and I call it sending out because I send cards to people. So if I send out to give versus send out to get, right?
Mhm.
I'm not expecting anything in return. I'm just sending it out, whether it's whether it's a card for someone's birthday or whether it's just an how are you doing card, like I was thinking of you today. It doesn't matter what the purpose is. It's just you send it out to give. It goes in out to the universe, and um, and you shouldn't expect anything in return. Well, it's the same with those introductions, and I'm feeling a bit badly right now because I was doing some work with a LinkedIn client for she was like a full meal deal client. And towards the end of our sessions together, she mentioned something. And I said, I do have something. She asked me if I knew anyone who would help her scale her business or whatever. And I said, I may have someone. And this woman is Canadian and this other person's Canadian. And I said, she lives in Toronto as well. I said, you might find this woman to be a fit. Well, she said, okay. The other girl said, okay. I introduced them. And I've heard nothing from the person who could get business from it. But I heard from my client that she hired her. And now I'm feeling like I can't believe she hasn't told me yet. But I'm going to wait a while still because I thought
Oh, and
that,
I would beg to differ. I see
okay.
this, I used to see this happen all the time.
Hmm.
You have to take the positive high road, but you have to remind somebody they could be better than their actions normally are.
In a
So
nice way.
if you wrote to, oh yeah, if you wrote to a woman who didn't honor this,
Yeah. Yeah.
one, next time you do it, ask the person if they will let you know
Yeah.
if they get
Yeah.
hired.
Yeah.
In this case, ask if they have a referral fee because you should have gotten paid for
Yeah.
them getting hired.
Yeah.
But if you say to them, dear so and so, we'll call her Linda. Dear Linda, I was so pleased that my client so and so said she signed up for us with you. I really can't wait to hear how incredible the work you do is going to be. Would you please keep me posted on this? And in the future, let me know more of what you're looking for or who else I could refer you to.
Nice.
She will
Yeah.
never ever do it again.
Yeah.
She will probably, if she's a quality person, write back and go, I'm so sorry. My kid was sick at school on that Tuesday, and I should
Yeah.
have told you, but you will shame her by saying, I'm aware you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
My client's enthused about it. Perhaps if you want more from me, you could respect that.
Yeah.
Because when you
That-
send the card out, you might do it because it's good natured, but what you're actually doing is increasing or maintaining the level of respect, admiration, or love somebody has for you remembering something of them that
mhm.
they often don't do of others.
Mhm.
But
That's a great way to say it.
that is a valuation of a current relationship.
Hmm.
You wouldn't get an email from me about your podcast, not have a talk yet, then send me a birthday card. I'd be like, why is Janice sending me a birthday card? She doesn't
Right.
know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you send me a birthday card for February 11th, which is my birthday coming up, I'll be like, well, she didn't actually listen to the podcast because I hate my birthday. I don't want reminders of it. My birthday is a referendum like other people's New Year's on what I haven't yet done in my life.
Seriously.
So seriously, so I don't like my birthday. My mother hates that I don't like my birthday, which is why she's flying up this year to be here on my birthday. And we're going to cook together, have a potluck with friends, and play a bunch of board games. And I better like my birthday.
Ah!
But that aside, right? The point is, you made a little bit of a flub with making this referral without saying this is valuable. You could
Well, and I'm
easily
going to check my
correct it.
email. I might have said to her, let me know how it goes.
You might have,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
regardless of whether you said it or not,
Yeah.
you would do this to somebody else, but most people wouldn't think to do it to you because if they're in their world, everyone's trying to get by. We think we're evolved, but we're still just animals surviving and working. And she's probably thinking, well, yeah, I'm good at what I do, so I got a new client.
Yeah.
Not what am I losing by dishonoring a woman who works with tons of people she could refer me to? And what am I losing by not honoring that back? Because once you see what you're going to lose, then we will take action to correct.
Yeah.
Nobody in a relationship, marriage, or the rest fixes something till they realize it's affecting their partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
just
great.
don't do the work. And so a business relationship, any relationship, it's all exactly the same. If people are honoring and respecting each other, you are elevated. And if
Mhm.
not, you don't realize how much you're actually offending people, even when you don't intend to.
Interesting. Okay. Um, yeah, you answered that question. Okay. Um, you believe that asking, no, okay. I'm going to this question. There's a difference between being visible and being trusted. How do you help people understand that distinction in their relationships and their communities?
So the person who's a taker in this
Mhm.
world, the most visible one is the person called the collector. This is the
Let's just back
person.
up for a second. Let me just get you to explain how your book is set up because I think I took your test, by the way. So let's just
Sure.
talk about
Okay.
that and then we'll go to.
So premise of the book is here's the street cred for how I did it. I run a global network of super connectors. I've done this for a decade. I've learned from the people who all thought or believed they were the best connector they've ever met. And instead of them being the best connector they've ever met, I've just introduced them to hundreds and hundreds of others. I'm not the best. I just built a system to allow all of us to thrive and support each other. That's not membership based, not monetized. It's a pure community that's a network of networks.
Mhm.
So all the principles that I had mentioned, from curiosity down to gratitude, all come from understanding how I want that world to operate and how the people at the very best of building trust operate. And for somebody who's thinking, well, this is all like goosey, loosey goosey, or like, touchy feely, I'm thinking, I have 1 degree from Madonna and Malala and Jody Allen and Ray Dalio and Steven Spielberg. And I mean, I've met most of these people as
Mhm.
well, but I've met them with the respect of somebody who knows them.
Mhm. So you
And
wouldn't
so
abuse it. So you
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't abuse it. In some cases, like I have a friend, we were introduced by somebody we both don't talk to. We took a text message intro. We jumped on a call. We weren't on stream with each other. I was David, she was Candace. And then we did a second call and we jumped on Zoom. And I admit I haven't followed sports in years because I have young children and we don't have a TV.
Candace Parker.
Uh, Candace Parker, who broke my book, who's my friend. Like my dad passed this past December. Candace said to me, "What day are you going to honor him?" And I said December 27th, and she sent the only bouquet I got from anyone. I didn't really advertise it, but she asked. It I will do anything to help her on this planet. It doesn't matter. She's an Olympian and WNBA star and all the rest. Like she showed up as a human in a way I didn't think I needed somebody to till the flowers arrived and it made the table where everyone was sitting around beautiful. Like I cried because of that, which was a gesture of kindness with no expectation.
Mm. And I
And
heard the story about meeting her, but I knew who you were going to say as soon as you said it because there's not that
yeah,
many. Yeah, and I'm a
but
basketball person, so
it's so she's She's my friend. She blurbed my book. I helped promote her book. It sits on my bookshelf. I recommend it, especially to people with this resilience mindset. I'm going to put her on my own podcast. I haven't asked her yet, so maybe you should listen to this and then just say
I love
yes.
that.
But when you build a relationship for the value and the why, not because of who's asking, that's a difference of the mentality of somebody who wants to do it to be visible.
Mhm.
And so the final part of the book, besides the playbook of I think, how to build purposeful community that Noah and I spelled out, I've spent my life looking at people and studying them and seeing who's a connector, who's generous. Some people think a connector has to be, as I mentioned, an extrovert, but one of the most important connectors is the shepherd or shepherdess. So I'll just give this one for people listening,
Titles
right?
that these are categories of people you've just labeled in your book that do certain things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it isn't always this, but we know the term, the woman behind the man,
Yes.
right? So a big business comes together. All the executives and the investors are everyone in the room. And the guy gets up and speaks about the power of the company he built. The reason that community is there is not that guy. They're there because of the person, often the shepherdess,
Mm.
who called them all, told them to change their schedules, got their spouse to come, helped make the room powerful. That is as powerful as a connector as the alpha extrovert who comes to the room and everyone's like, oh my God, he built a unicorn company. And then sometimes that person is an incredible human being. Oftentimes they're horrible,
Yeah.
but they built something great. So they're not a community builder.
He's not honoring.
They're not honoring her. So
Yeah.
the person that I found in this world that fits the visible before anything else, the taker, somebody who literally takes relationships from others, one of them is called the collector. This is the person who says, Janice, I know all these people everywhere. I've been here, I've been there, I've been there. And you're like, oh, well, could you approach Reid Hoffman for my podcast? And they'll be like, sure, sure. And then it never happens.
Yeah.
Then you see them another time. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get Janice to read. She
Yeah.
does this whole thing with her business on LinkedIn. Maybe the LinkedIn, and then it never happens.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to categorize this to name what all that behavior is,
Mm-hmm.
because the person who is seeking their own fame is feeding their insecurity.
Say that again.
The person who is seeking fame
Yeah.
around them is feeding their own insecurities.
Yeah.
My world is not rich because I know Candace Parker. My world is rich because a friend helped me mourn my dad.
Mm-hmm.
She just happens to have all these incredible things she's done.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll let me say this or not, but as we were bonding and becoming friends, I noticed she was getting out of breath. And I was like, what's wrong? And she's like, well, my kid is riding around my house and I keep having to chase him. And I was like, well, stop, go counterclockwise to him and then surprise him every time. And she stops. She stops being out of breath from chasing around however big a house she has in California. And every like 30 seconds, I hear her wave and I hear a giggle. And she's like, oh my God, you saved me. And I was like, well, I had the kid who kept running and wanted me to chase her. I went counterclockwise 8 years ago, but I remember. And like,
Yeah.
she's like, it's the best advice I've gotten all week. So like, so I don't seek that even in mentioning this because it's about the access. It's about the visibility. I don't post, hey, me and Candace had books come out. Like people who do that are trying to prove something.
Yeah.
I prove it when I introduce it to somebody of value to her and to them, and the fact I have the trust to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do this right, when you
Yeah.
do this right, there's no such thing as the upper echelon of people you can get access to and the lower echelon of people around you. It's just an intentional community. It's people in it for a greater goal that you built trust with. When you have that, you have something profound when you need it, not
Mm-hmm.
when it has to happen for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this question probably speaks that you said that community isn't something we join for benefits, but a responsibility that we accept. What does that responsibility look like in everyday business relationships?
I don't think there's been a single titan of industry ever who doesn't have the story about when everything started to fall down, how they called their friends and got it rebuilt.
Mm,
There's a famous story in the 80s about Goldman Sachs going under and one guy calling up his Rolodex and saving it.
mm.
Every story is about the community around you, the people you have trust with.
Yeah, it's all about the
And
people.
and therefore, if it's all about the people, then why wouldn't you want the strongest, most trusted, most diverse network you can to benefit your business? And so the responsibility, right, go back to the terms, to be honorable in it,
Yeah,
to be active in it, and to give more than you take, but know, especially in business, that's a balance. And
right.
my view of community that is different than a network is specifically this. In a community, you could have a need and somebody could fulfill it. But then somebody else could have a need you can't fulfill, but
Mhm.
somebody else can.
And you can
In a
draw.
network, you view it as quid pro quo. Can I help you? Did you help me? And when you view it that way, it always boils down to, was the transaction worth the time?
Mhm,
And this is the difference of why I say these need to be purposeful and intentional communities, because then everyone is upholding a collective responsibility.
mhm,
When you have a collective responsibility, what that becomes is a movement. What
mhm,
movements become are the things that actually change the world, and they
mhm,
all start from community. There's never been a radical shift in this world that hasn't happened from a collection of people coming together for something greater than themselves
mhm,
and taking what we thought was a majority opinion, like women can't vote, blacks can't vote, trans have no rights, whatever variation. And once the majority of a community and networks all say, no, that's not acceptable, it's interesting how quickly the dominoes fall and change.
mhm,
But you have to have that surge there. And only community to community, I believe, makes that happen.
mm. Well, when you talk about it being a movement, I've been part of this movement about gratitude for a long time now, and through one of my affiliations. And gratitude, I know, is a core theme for you as well. So, how does honoring the chain of connection deepen trust and help relationships last longer? I think we've talked about this, but let's just reiterate it because I think it's important
Yeah.
to
So I'm going to give a real life example and then I
okay,
will describe the outcome of
okay,
this. So, my friend Bronny, high school buddy, introduces me to his friend Jamie, who is working at a charity. Jamie meets me, we become friends. Jamie introduces me to her boss, whose name is Rebecca. I start to give good advice to Rebecca, and she asked me to become a board member of her charity. Now I'm board chair.
yeah,
In that, Jamie comes into my community. She meets my friend Joe. She meets my friend Wendy. Joe and Wendy make an introduction to her, which gets a major group that's a charity auction house to think about helping our charity. So right now, everyone's thinking, okay, he named a couple people. Who are these people? In December of last year, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, as in Bill and Ted, and Keanu Reeves is in famous Canadian, so go
yeah,
Canada for that,
absolutely, yeah,
right? Um, and such a high integrity human being. They agreed to do a charity event for the Arthur Miller Foundation, as in the playwright of Death of the Salesman and the Crucible, whose daughter Rebecca is the one I met through my friend Jamie, who's the executive director of that foundation.
right.
And because of my network of my friends Wendy and Joe, they were able to set up an event that raised, I think, $250,000 for our charity in one night,
Wow.
which is going to help massively secure our programming for next year. This took
Okay.
time, Janice, right? This took time. And I
Yes.
built relationships without a goal. What's the outcome for this one relationship? And I won't go into the details of each of the powers of each of those people. They are all valuable. They are all powerful.
Mhm.
So if I come out in the visible world and say, because of my network, I got Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter to do this thing, people are going to celebrate me. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
if I come out and say, I am so grateful to Kiana and Alex, who I've never met, but I'm so grateful they did this, and their entire team, especially publicists and managers who made it happen on the Monday night when they were in the middle of doing Waiting for Godot exhaustingly every night in a Broadway run. And I'm grateful for every person in this chain and this outcome. That's what honoring the chain is. I get to say all these people I know. I get to say the outcome that happened because of me, but when you do it under the world of honor and gratitude, everyone is with you in it. Everyone is elevated. And when you do that repeatedly, as I've done now for a decade, several thousand times a year running my community, the amount of insight you gain, along with the reputation you gain,
Mm.
means that, I could comfortably walk up to one of Candace's former stars friends at an event I did in Maryland and say to her, Candace is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And she can trust that. And she can trust that because she knows that I would not come up to her to name drop somebody who's also well known if I wasn't trustworthy by the person who brought us there to be on a panel. And so the reputation increases, the strategy is the same. Build with an expectation that you can be grateful. Thank everyone involved. Don't ask, final point, don't ask once you thank people for something more. Because when you let it sit, you let that silence sit just at the end of a piece of music, you finish performing. If somebody tries to applaud right away, the moment's ruined. You have to wait to see how long the silence will last, to see how deep the journey was for the audience. When you thank somebody right, they're thinking, oh my God, I did something awesome. I feel good. They feel good. Could we do more? Janice, what do you need? What do you need next? Can I help you more? This is why it's strategic, but also just personally valuable.
So I don't know how to phrase this without sounding like a fangirl, but when you first, people of influence in any given area may be, I don't know how to say this, but now I'm thinking about some things that I have done in my past. Like I did it. I don't know. I was a mom and a mom of a young kid, and I was doing a part-time gig, and I managed to get a job running a fundraiser for the Kidney Foundation here. And it was a job that they gave you the binder. The event had happened year after year, but you had to do it yourself, right? Make it your own, get your people for it. And the event was called Jail and Bail, where you put some people in jail for an hour, and they have to call their donors to get them out of jail for an amount of money, which goes to the foundation. And when that foundation was, when I did the event here, 2-day event, I had to get all the people that were going to go in jail. I had to get the judges, it was a whole thing. And then I had to get drivers to go pick the people up from their place of business and bring them, and to the event. And because these people, so I decided I would try and make it a local celebrity type event. Because I knew a fair number of people that I could reach and get to and whatever. And when I did it, we raised like $30,000. This was many years ago, but it was a 2-day event. I raised $30,000. It was considered a big success. And the person from the Kidney Foundation said to me, "We've never had celebrities in it before. They're local celebrities, right? The girl that does the news on the local television channel, and a talk show host, and a soccer player that was worldwide known from the team here, stuff like that." And it was so much fun. And I kind of went to my community and it grew and grew. I called this guy I had to get local business people too, who had the Rolodex to do it. So I called this guy who was the CEO of a credit union here that had many branches, and his son knew my daughter at school because they both played basketball. And I called his office and he answered the phone. I wasn't expecting it was a complete cold call, but he
Hmm.
answered the phone. Nicest guy ever. Said to me he would be happy to come and do the event. But he said who he'd really like to get him out of jail is this local celebrity who is very cute young girl. She did the weather on the local news. I said, I will get her for you. I didn't know how I was going
Okay.
to do that, but I did. Anyway, it was the best deal. And I felt really good about it. But I think my point here is when you're talking about celebrities, local or big worldwide celebrities, um, they're just people. And if you treat them like, you know, I'm getting sort of confused
No, no,
here,
no. Wait.
but
When you treat somebody not as a person, but as the persona people see them as, they don't feel seen or heard.
exactly.
When you give them something for the greater good, I mean, like Keanu Reeves, who's friends with or knows Rebecca Miller,
Yeah.
because she's also Hollywood. Like, our whole point is, who was that theater teacher that changed your life and brought you a better sense of yourself? Like Keanu has this, Julianne Moore has this, Alec Baldwin has this, the entire arts advisory group of our foundation is based on this. Steven Spielberg has this. They all have it because they all have the love of the person who made them love theater and
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all we do is fund the ecosystem to support more of those theater teachers in public schools. That's the mission.
Yeah.
So if the mission is greater, then you're asking somebody to be part of something greater. You're not saying, hey, weather girl, we want you there because we want you there.
Yeah.
You're
No.
saying, hey, there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
We have this credit union you probably bank at, and it wasn't a cold call because your kid
Yeah.
knew the other
I mean,
kid,
I made it, yeah, warm
right?
pretty
No, you
good.
had a parent relationship. But all of that is to say you just use the power of your community as a community, not as a network. You
Yes,
weren't
but
dialing for dollars for you.
what I'm also trying to say is if some people want to they listen to you and have these big names in front of you, they still don't see that they can do that with their own community, make it bigger, make it stronger, um, have more people that trust them and have they trust, which then could lead to, people with more influence. That's when I
Beyond
think,
100%, yes.
yeah,
And when we look at, as we're trying to connect those we gravitate to whom we think have great access and power, most times those people look the part, they don't
yeah,
have the
but they don't, yeah,
substance.
yeah. You
I
have to
went to an
be able,
event. Yeah.
sorry, you have to be able to distinguish that though. That's the key piece there. You have to be
Uh,
discerning, but
You have to be discerning about who might be a waste of your time. You
yes,
never know the opportunity in front of you unless you're curious and vulnerable.
yeah. And that's my
I
favorite
went to
word.
some event and I mean, I did this wrong for years. And I
Oh,
started to do this better when I had to. Like, this wasn't my whole life. I wasn't great at this. I became adept by studying what I did wrong. I
yeah,
was at this event in New York. Everyone wanted to meet the celebrity who was there. He was talking about this new tequila brand that came out. And I honestly, as much as I was enamored by this musician, like didn't feel like going up and being like, hey, I'm David. Thanks for being here for this tequila. It just felt false. So
yeah.
I sat with the friend towards the side, started talking with this woman who was there, who was in her 40s, and we just got along. We were joking where I was like, listen, I don't even really drink tequila. She's like, me neither. And then afterwards, Santana came up and hugged his sister,
Uh,
who was the woman we were talking to. And she
yeah,
was like, you should meet David. We spent like 20 minutes talking because
yeah,
we built value without an expectation of, oh, can I meet your brother? I didn't even know.
yeah, yeah. Fair
And
enough.
so, but that curiosity about somebody else without understanding if they're the right person gives you a better chance than not being curious and thinking you did your pitch right. You had
Yes.
your moment. Because I've had so many moments where I've walked up to people who are like honestly now friends who are rich or famous or this. And one I went up to and they're like, oh, hi, I'm so and so. I was like, honestly, you look like you need to get out of here. Like, can I walk you out of here? And I walked this person out of a conference. And then afterwards, they're like, but they're like, you have a connection to me, don't you? I go, yeah, well, we're doing a gala with Itzhak Perlman in a month, and you're coming in, said Yo-Yo Ma. But I didn't go in to be like, oh, you're Yo-Yo Ma. I thought I'd meet him. He was so harried after doing this event and being late for something. All I did, and I don't even know if he remembers this, he probably doesn't because it was years ago. I just said, let me be your out.
Yeah,
That's it.
you have to, you
I
treated him
missed,
like a person. You just
and
treated him like a
I
person.
missed my opportunity, except for I didn't because I built one later because of that.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I just realized that I've overstepped my bounds in terms of time on this recording because I'm just going on and I love this conversation. Last question. What's for someone listening who or watching who wants stronger relationships but doesn't want to feel salesy or transactional, what's one small shift they could make this week that would change how their relationships feel?
You know, usually when I answer this question, I talk about gratitude, but I've learned that there's something greater. If you don't want your relationships to seem transactional, then start with vulnerability. Everyone is dealing with something.
Mm,
And you don't have to call them up and be like, verbal diarrhea, here's what's wrong with me. How are you, Sally? What you have to do is you have to say, like, I value our relationship. I don't want it to become something that feels like we only engage when we want something from each other.
mhm,
Want to grab coffee? Tell me how it is. How is it with your kids? How is it with aging parents? I'm struggling with mine.
mhm,
If you connect at that level with somebody you already have some relationship with,
mhm,
you build a bond. And that final part, which is why I say generosity is even more important than gratitude.
mhm,
If you ask what they need and offer to help them,
mhm.
if you can do it, that builds trust that transcends any future transaction.
It's so true, right? So true. David, I do have one other question for you. My favorite word is curiosity. And I like to ask this two-part question sometimes to my guests, and you're a perfect guest for this. Do you believe that curiosity is innate or learned? And part two, what are you most curious about these days?
As a parent of small children, curiosity is 100% innate.
Okay.
The difference is when curiosity moves from being self-centered to being egoless, to being about somebody else. And that has to be learned.
Mm,
It is
yes. Okay.
appalling how many people you try to engage with who tell you their same thing over and over, and all you want to do is run. And if
Okay.
anyone doesn't understand it, think about the first date you went on years ago with the most gorgeous person you've ever met, and you poured your soul out and you talked about your entire life, and then they didn't call you back
Yeah.
because you weren't curious about them. That was your flaw.
Perfect. And what are you most curious about these days?
You know, I'm launching a new technology, and in that technology, we're starting to understand the data behind the amount of strong connections people have based on how we collect it.
Mhm.
I think that the Dunbar number has evolved because of technology to be higher than 150.
Oh,
And
I just
within
read
about,
that. Yeah.
yeah, within about 6 months to a year, I should have enough users, enough data to go, yeah, I think it's 250. It's 250 for me. What
So
is it for
the
you?
Dunbar thing is something to do with the number of people that you are connected
Yeah,
with, right?
social data, very empirical data proved that we can each maintain about 150 relationships total.
Okay.
Janet Robinson says it's 150 plus 5 plus 1. Core person, next 5, 30 is a circle, larger, it expands out.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And this was all done before cell phone, texting, social media was all
Mm,
prevalent in how we connect, how we can reconnect.
mhm,
So the thing I'm most curious about is, has technology changed what that number is? At the same time, we feel more isolated and lonely and also overwhelmed with the amount of messages coming into us.
perfect. Thank you so much. So thank you for your time. This is a long episode. I hope so. I hope you stayed with us till the end because I think it's worth it. There's so many nuggets in here. David has been David and I think, have had a thoughtful conversation about what it really means to connect with intention and care. I appreciate, David, the way that you remind us that relationships don't fail loudly, they fade quietly, and that trust is built through clarity, gratitude, and responsibility, and vulnerability, as you just mentioned, I think. So thank you for sharing not just your ideas, but the heart behind them. And to everyone listening, I hope this conversation encourages you to nurture the relationships that matter most in business and in life. And remember that relationships do rule. Thank you. If today's show inspired you to make a new connection, why not start with me? Head over to LinkedIn and connect with me. Be sure to let me know you are a podcast listener, because I select one listener each month who connects with me on LinkedIn for a complimentary profile audit. Don't forget to stay connected and be remembered.